SpaceX files S1 revealing massive AI infra bet. 12 billion buys orbital real estate that ground-based operators cannot replicate at any scale. Anthropic secures early access to those nodes and will lock in latency advantages no competitor can touch without matching satellite builds. Every hyperscaler now faces a choice: negotiate capacity on the same constellation or watch their agentic product margins erode under higher power draw by next year. The 2028 target date compresses timelines for terrestrial expansion plans already underway. Board reviews start this quarter. Trump postpones AI executive order last minute. Any order without explicit China export carve-outs stays in draft until at least September. Industry groups already treat the leaked version as de facto guidance and adjust their compliance roadmaps accordingly. That informal adoption gives U.S. labs breathing room on model releases while forcing Chinese competitors to accelerate domestic chip programs before the next restriction wave lands. The delay therefore widens the capability gap rather than closing it. Both sides now reset their hardware procurement calendars to that timeline. Meta begins laying off 8,000 amid AI restructuring. Reallocating 7,000 engineers to AI projects leaves legacy teams with 12 months to prove revenue or face deeper cuts. API pricing on Llama models drops further as those new teams target enterprise inference workloads directly. OpenAI must either match the cuts or concede share in the mid-market segment, where most agent deployments still run today. The move also signals that non-AI research budgets face zero protection in the next planning round. Quarterly reviews begin next month. Google launches Gemini Omni multimodal video model. Consistent physics in generated video removes the last reliable cue moderators use to flag synthetic content. Every platform now needs provenance layers that add processing steps to every upload. Runway and Pika must bundle enterprise-grade editing controls or lose production budgets, shifting to Google's integrated stack. The change lands first in advertising workflows, where frame-by-frame edits replace traditional shoots within the next 2 cycles for major brands. Procurement teams update vendor lists before Q4 reviews. Google redesigns search with AI agents and new box. Persistent agents that monitor topics nonstop shift how teams handle research. Users delegate once and receive continuous updates instead of refreshing queries. This undercuts dedicated alert services and pushes Perplexity to match the always-on capability or watch its enterprise adoption slow. Within 18 months, most compliance workflows will route through these agents, trimming review cycles. The redesigned box keeps the interface simple, while generative results sidestep classic link navigation. Karpathy joins Anthropic pre-training team. Karpathy's focus on pre-training at Anthropic highlights where the next capability jumps will come from. Most coverage fixates on fine-tuning and safety layers, yet raw model scale still drives the biggest leaps. This hire accelerates Claude's trajectory and forces OpenAI to reallocate resources back to foundational training runs rather than product features. Expect measurable gains on reasoning benchmarks within the next 12 months. Teams relying on Claude for complex agent work will see the difference first. Microsoft open sources Rampart and Clarity for agents. Continuous adversarial testing now slots straight into existing CI pipelines for agent projects. Developers catch edge cases before deployment instead of discovering them in production logs. The move raises the bar for every closed model provider and forces OpenAI to publish comparable tooling or risk appearing less transparent to enterprise security teams. Early validation of design assumptions through Clarity will shorten iteration cycles on agent reliability. Smaller teams gain access to methods once limited to large labs. Pause. OpenAI confirms upcoming IPO filing plans. Filing preparations shift internal roadmaps toward metrics investors can track quarter to quarter. Capability releases will slow in favor of reliability improvements that support steady API revenue. This timeline pressures Anthropic to outline its own path to liquidity within the next year or lose key talent to a public company with clearer equity options. The real constraint emerges in how safety research budgets survive earnings calls. Developers should watch for any early signals on rate limits or feature gating. Figma embeds AI agent directly in design workflows. Teams that once exported to Midjourney now iterate inside the same file. That shift quietly raises the switching cost for any rival that still relies on external model calls. Adobe's Firefly integration suddenly looks like a disconnected afterthought. expect the agency pitch process to compress from weeks to days, forcing every competing platform to ship native agents before their renewal cycles hit. 11 Labs AI restores expressive voice for ALS patient. Archived voicemails just became the most valuable data a family can preserve before diagnosis hits. Hospitals that still route ALS patients to basic TTS devices now face pressure to integrate cloning pipelines before their next equipment refresh cycle. The bigger shift comes when voice libraries start migrating across providers, something no current medical device contract anticipates. The first provider to bundle this with legacy planning will lock in an entirely new revenue stream from estate attorneys. Visa expands agentic commerce pilots with banks. Banks still treating agent transactions as edge cases will watch their interchange revenue tilt toward whichever rails update their authorization logic first. Santander's early seat gives it a direct line into how dispute resolution gets coded when an agent misreads a return policy. Expect card networks to publish agent-specific SLA terms within 6 months. Merchants who ignore the change will see their highest value repeat orders routed through whichever agent finds the lowest compliant price. Pope Leo addresses AI impact on Europe and society. When the Pope frames AI as a mediator of human relationships rather than a productivity tool, Brussels listens differently than Washington does. Expect the next round of EU AI Act guidance to borrow language around dignity and community that no American lab has stress-tested yet. Education platforms selling into Catholic schools across the continent now face an informal review layer that sits outside any formal certification. Ministries drafting procurement rules will adopt that vocabulary before the next budget cycle.